Nå skal vi over til et annet språk, nemlig engelsk, for nå skal vi gå inn i den beste ekspertisen i utlandet på akkurat det vi snakker om nå. Nå hadde dere den beste ekspertisen fra NHH her i Norge, og så skal vi nå gå til MIT i Boston, hvor det altså en foreleser som har blitt berømt for å forelese for både studenter og næringslivsledere i hvordan lage business av KI, og hvordan skalere først og fremst, kanskje fra null og opp, men det er i hvert fall det som er denne karen her, Paul Cheek sin jobb. Så please give a warm welcome to Mr. Paul Cheek. Yeah, welcome. All right.
Let's go.
Oh, he's American. Oh, yeah. But, do you think they can make something valuable in 30 minutes, Paul?
They're hard at work. Yeah. I think so.
Yeah.
I know so, in fact. We've been talking a lot about the 30-minute startup, the ability to create a new company from scratch in just 30 minutes. We've now seen that this is possible. Will it be perfect? No, of course not. But it sets a really strong foundation, and this is what we're seeing in the new AI-driven enterprise model, something that I believe is incredibly important for entrepreneurs, as well as for those large established legacy organizations that ultimately leads to economic development and growth. So yes is the short answer, but there's more to it than that.
Of course. But here people are maybe thinking, this is fun. Yeah, this is fun.
And it is.
It is. But it's not going to work over at my place. Can they be right that it's not going to work on their place?
I would argue that this AI-driven enterprise model, we always talk about companies as being small, medium enterprises that scale linearly, or we talk about innovation-driven enterprises. Think about those scalable tech companies. Those companies, yeah, they're wonderful, but they require a lot of upfront risk capital. What we're seeing is that these AI-driven enterprises, they can start and scale in much less time, with far fewer resources, with less headcount. That's really powerful. The challenge that it presents is for the established legacy organization is around latency. Latency is the key topic in my new book, No One Works Here. Now, the latency is how long it takes you to schedule a meeting to kick off a project. While you're kicking off that project, the entrepreneurs of tomorrow, some of whom are on this stage, are starting and scaling in less time than we've ever imagined before. What that means is that we need to adopt that into our organization. But it starts by looking at how we can reorient the organization to move faster, to get things done more quickly. I've said the word organization a few times. I'd ask you, what's the definition of an organization? If we open the dictionary, it's been defined historically as a group of people working with a common purpose in an organized way. But the reality is, the most inefficient part of every organization? It's you and I. It's the people. So I propose replacing that word in the definition, people, with nodes, representing either humans or AI agents, working together. But the speed at which we operate, that is the most important thing for businesses today.
You are calling this zero-person company. I mean, it sounds like a horror movie to a lot of us other people. But what do you think is the possible first company that could really be a zero-person company that can make value? What's an example of that?
Well, the most concrete example is my company. We started a company called Autonomy. Autonomy built a software platform to enable zero-person companies to exist, to start and scale. And I'll tell you very concretely, the first business that has sold a real product to real people with no humans building the company, that company sold merchandise, physical merchandise that AI agents designed, marketed to consumers, and sold to them, and then worked through a series of APIs to actually create that physical merchandise and ship it out to end consumers who paid money. Now, these AI agents were not profitable at first, but we've now had the first unit profitable sale run exclusively by AI agents. That's something I'm really excited about. Now, do I think that's the end game? No. But what I do believe is that it shows us what's possible and the speed at which organizations can evolve in no time at all.
We have your colleague from the business school here in Bergen saying that the real issue is finding a problem that is worth finding a solution to. So how do you go with your people to get to the problem that you want to solve, a suitable problem.
Yes, absolutely. Well, when we teach entrepreneurship at MIT, we always say that it needs to be something that you are extremely passionate about. And that doesn't go away. In fact, when we talk about the process of starting a new business, we make sure that we don't lose those first principles. This is entrepreneurship education. Integrating those first principles with the AI process to do it in a faster manner. Now, how do we find those problems? Right now, I have an AI agent running around the clock, searching the internet for the real problems that real people like ourselves are reporting in real time. We look at that list and we evaluate them systematically on a number of different variables. Is this something that we can do? Is this something that the technology will allow us to do? Is it something that there is a large enough market for? But one of the things I believe, with the cost of creation plummeting, we will see more and more people starting businesses, and those businesses will leverage these AI agents to self-generate, if you will. And that still has to be something that the human really cares about. And even in the zero-person company, I believe that the human oversight or governance is still incredibly important. So I'm very pro-human, if we want to go there.
Yeah.
But I also believe that we need to look at this in the established organizations. Why? Well, because these AI-driven enterprises are starting and scaling so rapidly, they can eat away market share from a legacy organization faster than we've ever seen before. So what does that mean in an established organization? Well, I launched a research institute called the AI-Driven Enterprise Institute. We've looked at millions and millions of data points from the S&P 500. We've also looked at every one of their board members and every one of their executives. When we look at this data, there's a very clear theme that emerges from the data. That theme is that literacy at the highest levels of the organization around AI leads to executive advocacy for AI. That executive advocacy changes the orientation around AI of the company and ultimately leads to successful AI implementation. We've now done this research in the United States, we've done it in Brazil, we're doing it in the UK now, with Canada to come. And we're excited to look at how these organizations choose to evolve moving forward. We look at their strategy for AI adoption, but we also make sure to look at what they are actually doing, not by surveys, rather by looking at what's actually happening in the organization. Think things like earnings calls, annual reports, think job postings, one of the leading indicators of what that organization is actually doing. If they say we're going all in on AI, but the job posts that they put out have only a small percentage that require AI skills or AI talent, there's a clear gap between strategy and execution. So I would ask the folks in this room today, what percentage of the job posts that you currently have out there require AI skills or AI talent, and which ones simply require somebody to use Microsoft Word or Excel?
What are the biggest mistakes that companies do when they try to put AI into their core businesses?
Yeah, absolutely. What are the biggest mistakes? Well, I'd say they start to go all in too quickly. There's a need to adopt AI internally within your company for the operations, and then there's, of course, the opportunity to look externally, serving clients. What I've seen is that far too many organizations start with what they think they can do. The problem is there are so many opportunities in any organization to adopt AI. What I'm a big proponent of is something I call the AI Opportunity Identification Matrix. This matrix takes a very systematic analysis to look at all the opportunities we have. And it evaluates those opportunities to implement AI in the organization based on a number of factors. The impact to the business overall, the data availability, the technical feasibility, and of course, the risk. We're looking for those small, easy wins to ensure that we can continue on in our AI implementation. Now, I think when we look at established organizations implementing AI, there's a real need. But what I would also say is there's a wonderful economic opportunity to spur the creation of far more AI-driven enterprises. I always look to companies like Nokia in Finland. Companies like Nokia created phenomenal economic growth in the region. They created a lot of jobs, which is something that when we look at economic development, we're usually evaluating. But now when I look at Nokia, Nokia had huge wins and did phenomenally well. But of course, over the course of time, any organization, starts to falter. And when we look at that, we see a lot of job creation, but then a lot of job loss. And I see the potential for something similar to happen now with Novo Nordisk in Denmark. So what I'm a proponent of is creating the opportunity for more people to pursue entrepreneurship in a region where they can apply this AI-driven enterprise model requiring less upfront risk capital and less headcount to go and create these organizations that start and scale rapidly. When that happens, we create smaller companies with fewer jobs per company, but more organizations that have the potential to have that same level of impact. And that is what I would propose to you all. How can you create an environment here in Bergen, in Norway, in which more people can pursue AI-driven entrepreneurship?
That was a crash course from MIT with Mr. Paul Cheek.
Thank you.